Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. So I often watch the Dave Ramsey Show. I don't agree with 100% with everything he says, but it's a good way to get some perspective on what's going on. And he likes using cash. I don't. I have a cash mentality, but the reason I don't like using it is because the few times that I have to use cash, which unfortunately when it comes up, I always feel like I didn't get my money's worth. I end up putting the loose change in my pocket. It slides out of my pocket, falls into the car. Plus, I tend to spend it more loosely. It doesn't feel like... I know it sounds weird, given what Dave Ramsey said. It doesn't feel like real money. It feels like confetti that I could throw around, right? If I have to swipe a credit card and sign something, documents, right? It feels like I'm signing a big contract, like a deed to a house, right? I got to take that seriously, right? But there is one thing that Dave and I will probably agree on. It's that if I think of my money as something physical, even though I'm swiping a card, so for example, every time I hear a price now, in my mind I like to convert it to like how many pounds of bismuth it is, right? I buy bismuth in bulk, and I can usually get it for about $6-7 a pound. And each one of these weighs about 3/4 of a pound, actually. So I'll mentally picture this stuff. And where I find it really helps is with controlling my eating disorder. So I get my favorite food, and it might cost, let's say, 3-4 bismuth bars, right? Or some amount of bismuth, right? I visualize that. And I'm like, gee, I don't want to gulp that down, right? I want to really savor it and get my money's worth out of it, right? So one of my favorite treats for myself is the fries at Five Guys, and nowadays I don't think I need to tell you, restaurants are a lot busier than they were just 2 years ago, right at the height of COVID. COVID is when I really started to learn how to go out without having anxiety attacks. I have anxiety, and now I really enjoy going out. I used to be much more introverted. So I go to Five Guys, and that order of small fries might be one of these bismuth bars, right? And instinctively, I don't want to gulp it down. And I take very small bites out of it. And I have to keep myself from looking at other people, because I get grossed out of my mind. I was at my office the other day, and somebody in the lunchroom grossed me out with how they were eating. And I literally went to the bathroom and almost barfed. I can't stand watching that stuff anymore. I also have to watch myself. Sometimes I get very nosy and try to talk these people down, and half the time it doesn't go well. The other half, sometimes people say, I love your advice. It really depends. Sometimes I feel in the mood to educate somebody about this. It doesn't always go well, but when it does, it's a very beautiful thing. And a lot of people they know what they're doing is not healthy. They want to subconsciously not know what they're doing. And so when you try to educate these people, all of a sudden they explode on you. I recommend, if you're going to do it, try to do it in a relatively busy place, right, where people won't assault you or something like that. But sometimes to be honest, the reason I educate these people is to really educate myself, right? How far I've come from it. These people don't know that. But I'm really trying to keep myself in check when I talk to these people. But anyway, and then I was thinking about some toxic workplaces that I've been in. At my last job, I had a colleague who asked me to donate my vacation time. And, vacation time doesn't seem like cash that you're giving somebody, right? It doesn't even seem like a credit card swipe, right? You click on, you acknowledge an email and click a button, and that's it, right? It's almost as easy as Apple Pay or some of the things that Dave Ramsey would criticize about. And so I'm telling myself I'm never going to do that again, because nowadays my time is really precious. I talk about not having enough time to eat at lunch. I talk about not having enough time for sleep. And when I converted how much vacation time I gave my colleague into bismuth, it was a monumental amount of bismuth. I mean, I could make a lot of great stuff with it. And it solidified the idea that, oh my God, I'm never going to give away vacation time and stuff. Now, granted, I can't directly trade my vacation days for bismuth, right? You got to wait until you quit your job, and then you can maybe, if you had another job lined up, okay, then you take that extra money and then you buy bismuth. It's a few steps removed, right? Compared to the Five Guys, it's a little bit more removed than that, but still, it gives you an idea of what's going on, right? See, if my colleague, instead of saying, "Oh my God, I have COVID and I'm out of paid time off. Could you donate some vacation?" If instead of saying that, she asked me, "Could you give me 100 pounds of bismuth because my son really loves this Buddha statue. I'd like to pour one for him." I think both of us would be very hesitant on that, right? First of all, she almost certainly wouldn't ask. And even if she did, right, unless it was something super important, right, I don't think if she says that, her son is working on a science project and could really use this bismuth to get an A in his class so he can get a college scholarship, maybe. Even that's pushing it, right? But when it's a few vacation days, it seems like just thin air, right, for some reason, right? Which is why I think the policy is really toxic, right? All right. Thought I would point out a way to visualize a couple of things, and it's really helped with my eating disorder more than anything else.